Welcome back to IceHogs Warmups. Kyle Stuetzel alongside Bob Mills. We will be previewing tonight's matinee contest versus the Iowa Wild, and we will be diving into the three keys for today's contest. And this is going to be an interesting one for the Iowa Wild. This is their third game in 3 straight days, something you normally don't see in the AHL scheduling scenario. It's normally something we see in the ECHL level. But again, this is something, since we don't see it a whole lot, you don't know really if a team's going to come out quick and jump on the puck, or you don't know if they're going to be slow and sluggish after their third straight game.
Yeah, exactly. And you could pretty much understand either scenario for a team. If Iowa does come out and they look a little bit sluggish, well, they've played 3 games in 3 days. They had to play the first one out in Rockford against the IceHogs, of course, who had been rested coming into the game. And then they go back out to Iowa. They have to play a Milwaukee Admirals team that was not on the ice on Friday night, so another rested opponent that they had to face on Saturday. And then they come right back out here against Rockford, who didn't have to play, obviously, yesterday. We're able to use it as a travel day. So you could certainly see the Iowa Wild being a little bit sluggish at the start of the game. On the other hand, sometimes teams, when they play that many games in that many days, they get into a little bit of a rhythm. They're able to come out and just kind of get things going in the right direction right off the bat. So it'll be interesting to see what we see from Iowa here in this contest.
Now, one big key for Rockford in this game is going to have to continue their defensive play. The first 8 games of the season have gone a day and night kind of thing, because in the first 4 games of the season, Rockford gave up 21 goals in 4 games. The next 4 games, it was a totally different team. The communication was better. They gelled a lot better. They were playing their division opponents, so I assume that their play went up. They elevated their play. They only gave up 8 goals in 4 games. So it was a totally different team that we see, and they need to find a way to continue that again tonight.
Yeah, exactly. And we heard a lot of the players talking about the communication aspect, the chemistry aspect after those first 4 games. The IceHogs went 1-3-0 in their first 4, and then they completely turned it around and go 3-0-1 in their next 4 games. And the defensive zone for Rockford, I thought, looked, as you said, kind of like a completely different team out there on the ice. And I think that does come from the fact that you had a lot of guys along the blue line that hadn't played together before. The majority of the defense for Rockford coming into this season was not on the Rockford IceHogs last year. They were playing all over, for some people, the world of Eric Gustafsson, who, of course, got a chance to go up to the National Hockey League, but he was playing in Sweden last year. You have Dennis Robertson, who was part of the Charlotte Checkers last year. The list just goes on. And so I think that it was maybe good for Rockford to get a chance to come out early on and play a lot of games toward the beginning of their season and get a chance to really settle in on the ice. We saw the breakout start to improve for Rockford. We saw the defensive zone coverage go way, way up, where we didn't see nearly as many point-blank chances. So it's been a much better job as of late for Rockford, and hopefully that means it's the type of defensive effort we'll see for the majority of the games going forward, as opposed to what we saw out of the first 4 games.
One reason why they've actually improved the defensive play is because of their penalty killing play. They've been able to build off that success. The first 4 games of the season were ones to forget on the penalty kill. They gave up, I want to think it was 8 goals in those first 4 games on the power play. And then they turn it around and give up 2 in the last 4 games. They've really been stepping up in the slot. They've really been limiting the chances that the other teams have been getting. They've been giving Michael Layton a seeing eye lane, as we like to call it, something where he can see the puck better, he can make better saves, he can be in a better position, and it just, the overall unit in the penalty kill has been a lot better for this team.
Yeah, exactly. We saw a lot of goals at the start of the season come in on the power play when teams were just getting it up to the high slot area along the blue line and allowing some of their defensemen with those big slap shots to just wind up in fire pucks at the net. And when your goaltender is being screened, all he can do at that point is get into the right position, maybe drop down on the butterfly and pray that the puck bounces off of him. And when you're facing the caliber of shooters that you see at the AHL level, that's just not going to work more often than not. And the IceHogs have done a way better job lately of blocking those shots, of taking away some of the passing lanes that teams have been looking for. And that's been a big help to Rockford's penalty kill, and we've certainly seen the improvements that have come from that.
Moving along in the show, we will head to the 3 keys of tonight's contest. The very first one is have a good first period. Establish a very good first period. Get on this team early.
Yeah, it's exactly what we've been talking about during this segment. The fact that Iowa's playing their 3rd game in 3 days, you would expect them to be a little bit tired. The IceHogs also did that in their previous matchup a couple games back ago at the BMO Harris Bank Center, where they got 16 shots in the first frame compared to only 6 to the Iowa Wild on a Wednesday night. And if they can come out and do something like that again, it gives them momentum and would really help them going forward here in this game.
Second key of tonight's game is to play smart. They've had a lot of penalties taken. They're one of the most penalized teams in the first few games of the season. They've got to find a way to stay out of the box, play smart, and play discipline.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen the IceHogs spend far too much time in the penalty box. They're one of the highest teams in the league when it comes to time shorthanded. So we've seen that physical play from the Rockford IceHogs start to elevate. I know that from talking to head coach Ted Dent, from talking to the players, that they want to try to find that line a little bit better and try not to cross over it when it comes to the physical play, and try to take a fewer penalties here going forward.
And the final key of the game is establish a forecheck. They've been able to get this thing going, especially against the Charlotte Checkers. They weren't able to establish any goals, get anything in the back of the net until late in that game, but they established it. It looked good. They were generating a lot of offensive success, and they need to do it again tonight.
Yeah, and a lot of times what you really want to do off your forecheck early in the game is just force the other team to think about the fact that those big forwards that the IceHogs have are going to be coming after you. It makes the defenseman a little bit jumpy with the puck. It helps to cause turnovers, especially as the game wears on into the late stages of the second period and the third period. And against a Wild team, once again, that's played a lot of games lately, if they're already a little bit worn down, a heavy forecheck could help out even more.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's game. Stay tuned. We have Puck Drop just moments away, but also coming up next after the break is our interview with Ted Dent and the Dent Diagnosis. Kyle Stuetzel, Bob Mills, this has been IceHogs Warmup on your Rockford IceHogs Broadcast Network.